A little girl sat quietly on the swing, her tiny fingers gripping the chains but her lips sealed in silence. She didn't laugh, she didn't cry, and she didn't even whisper a sound. Her father, a powerful CEO whose name was known in every business magazine, stood at a distance watching her with a heaviness in his heart. He had all the money in the world, all the influence anyone could dream of, but in that moment he felt powerless. Because his daughter, his only child, hadn't spoken a single word since birth. Doctors had told him it might take years. Some even said it may never happen. And yet, he brought her to the playground every weekend, hoping that maybe just maybe she would one day feel free enough to break her silence. But what he never expected was that the breakthrough wouldn't come from him, or from a therapist, or from years of carefully planned sessions. It would come from a complete stranger. A stranger who was not wealthy, not influential, but someone who carried scars of his own. A single dad with a little boy of his own. And the moment their worlds collided, it would change everything. Friends, before we dive into this incredible story of kindness, healing, and miracles, I invite you to join our growing family here at Kindness Stories. If you believe in the power of compassion, if you believe in everyday people making extraordinary differences, then hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story so that more hearts can be touched. Because what you're about to hear will remind you that sometimes, the most life-changing miracles come from the most unexpected people. The CEO's name was Daniel. To the world, he was a man of strength, always confident, always in control. But at home, in the quiet moments when no one was watching, Daniel felt like he was failing the one person who mattered most, his daughter, Lily. She was 6 years old now, with wide brown eyes that held oceans of emotion, yet she never spoke. He tried everything: speech therapists, child specialists, even traveling abroad for new treatments. But Lily stayed silent. She would only communicate through gestures, small drawings, or sometimes by hiding her face in his chest when she wanted comfort. That Saturday morning, Daniel had taken her to the local park, more out of routine than hope. Lily sat on the swing, watching other children run and play, but never joining in. Daniel stood nearby, keeping his usual protective watch. That's when he noticed a man, simple, dressed in worn clothes, enter the playground with his son. The boy was around the same age as Lily, his laughter echoing through the park as he ran ahead. The man followed slowly, carrying a tired but gentle look in his eyes. Daniel didn't know his story then. But that man was James, a single dad raising his son, Noah, on his own after losing his wife to illness. Life hadn't been easy for him. Money was tight, and he often worked double shifts just to make sure Noah had what he needed. Yet, no matter how hard things got, he made time for moments like this, taking his son to the park, cheering him on, making him feel loved. Noah noticed Lily first. The little girl on the swing, watching silently. Most children would have ignored her, or maybe teased her for being so quiet. But Noah walked straight up, his small face full of kindness, and asked, "Do you want to play with me?" Daniel's heart ached. He waited for Lily to shrink back, to lower her head as she usually did when someone tried to talk to her. But this time was different. She looked at Noah. Really looked. And for the first time, her eyes lit up. She didn't move or answer, but she didn't turn away either. That alone made Daniel's chest tighten with both hope and fear. James noticed the exchange and walked over, giving Daniel a respectful nod. "Your daughter's shy?" he asked softly. Daniel sighed, his voice heavy. "She hasn't spoken, ever." There was no judgment in James's eyes, only understanding. He simply nodded and said, "Then maybe she just needs the right friend." The two fathers stood side by side, watching as Noah gently tried to include Lily. He showed her his toy truck, let her hold it, and even pushed her swing a little. And though Lily remained quiet, her grip on the chains loosened. For the first time in a long time, she looked like she belonged. Then it happened. As Noah laughed and pointed to the slide, urging her to come, Lily's lips parted. Daniel froze. His breath caught. And in the softest, most fragile voice he had ever heard, Lily whispered, "Play." The world stopped. Daniel felt his vision blur as tears filled his eyes. It was one word, just one, but it was everything he had been praying for. His daughter had spoken. And not to him, not to a therapist, but to the son of a complete stranger. James looked at him, realizing what had just happened, and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "children find their voice when they find someone who sees them, not their silence." Daniel couldn't hold back his tears. For years, he had tried to fix things with money, doctors, and power. But here, in a simple playground, a boy with nothing but kindness had unlocked what he could not. From that day on, the two families began to meet at the park often. Noah and Lily grew inseparable, and with every playdate, Lily spoke a little more. First single words, then small sentences. And as she grew, so did Daniel's understanding that what his daughter needed most wasn't pressure, but patience, not wealth, but warmth, not a perfect father, but a present one. Over time, Daniel and James developed a friendship too. Daniel admired James's strength as a single dad, raising his son with so little yet giving him so much. And James, though he had nothing close to Daniel's riches, saw the man behind the CEO, the father who loved his daughter with all his heart, even when he didn't know how to help her. Months later, at Lily's school recital, Daniel sat in the front row, holding his breath as she stood on stage. She looked nervous, her small hands trembling. But then she spotted Noah in the audience, waving at her with a huge grin. And in that moment, Lily began to speak her lines. Her voice was soft but clear, filling the room with a sound Daniel had once feared he would never hear. Tears streamed down his face as he realized how far she had come. And when the recital ended, he hugged James and whispered, "I can never repay what your son has given us." James smiled humbly. "You don't need to repay kindness. Just pass it on." And friends, that's the message of this story. Sometimes the miracles we're waiting for don't come from the places we expect. They don't come from wealth, power, or perfect plans. They come from ordinary people with extraordinary kindness. A little boy who simply asked, "Do you want to play?" changed a life forever. So if you're listening to this today, I want you to remember you have the power to change someone's world with even the smallest act of kindness. Never underestimate the impact you can make. Thank you for watching this story on Kindness Stories. If it touched your heart, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel so we can continue spreading hope and inspiration. Together, we can remind the world that kindness is the most powerful language of all.